So this is one about Sheffield city centre and why it's gone downhill over the years significantly. Um, so this is probably only going to be of interest to local people, but it's probably worth sticking around for if you're not from Sheffield because it does also implicate national factors and global factors in this situation. So basically, Sheffield city centre used to be thriving. I was born in the 70s, and I can remember through the 70s, 80s, and 90s that being the case. Particularly the area where Castle Market is, because it was a very large market, indoor marketplace. And we also had Chief Market next to it as well, which was also big. And there were loads of traders in there, and it used to attract a lot of people that area. Um, but now it's a ghost of what it used to be, and I went there to do a walking video for my other YouTube channel in summer of last year, July. Red hot day, beautiful weather. Walked down past on Ladies Bridge, past where Castle Market used to be, and before that, the castle that was knocked down by Oliver Cromwell, um, and came up. And honestly, I'm being generous here. Throughout that time, I walked to Waygate in Haymarket. I must have seen about generous estimate 25 to 30 people. That was a Saturday afternoon. A Saturday afternoon back in the day, walking up there, bearing in mind that's where both markets used to be, you'd be talking going up there probably about 300 or 400 people, just walking up that stretch of road, all coming in and out. Um, and it's the same all over the city centre now. There's a local reason for this, and that's in 1990, Meadowhall was built and opened, and that is one of the biggest shopping centres in Europe. So, and Meadowhall's just north of the city centre, next to the M1 motorway. So that sucked a lot of shoppers out the city centre who then shopped at Meadowhall. And the advantage to Meadowhall is that it's got free parking. You can turn up and you're always going to find a spot, and it's free to park there. And that is something that Sheffield City Centre doesn't have, because you've always had to park in the city centre, and then you're struggling to kind of find a parking spot. So the city centre's never been the same since 1990. And then since then, globally, we've had the advent of the internet. So people are shopping online now. They're not shopping in shops, the high street shops, which is why they're all closing. And then you've got this abject, depressing atmosphere in towns and city centres across the country now, where it's just like pawnbrokers and the vape shops, and spice heads like hanging about them like you get in Sheffield city centre. So, but there has been a move towards that, which has meant that there's less people going out shopping, and all city centres and towns have been affected across the country, and probably maybe across the world, depending on the country, have been affected by that. So that's another factor. But then you've also got a virulently left-wing local council, which has been left-wing for ad infinitum, like probably since at least World War II. I don't know. I mean, I think there was maybe a conservative local council at one point, but that must have been, yeah, you're talking decades ago. It's always been, this city's always been very left-wing. And currently we have a coalition in the council of the Green Party and Labour, and I think the Lib Dems might be part of that as well. Now, the thing about that is, I'll guarantee behind the scenes, again, this is my intuition talking, that whatever the Greens say or want to do, the other two members of the party will, the Lib Dems and the Labour members of the council will go along with whatever they say, because it forms part of the left wing umbrella that we have to take green issues very seriously. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with taking like the environment seriously. My argument is that I think we take it a little too seriously, and also we don't apply any brains or common sense to how we deal with it at a local level, that is, at least. So what they've done is the local council, now that the Greens have got a foot in the door, they are now creating, closing roads, pedestrianising roads, and this is particularly in the city centre, making them like bus lane, bus routes only. Also in the suburbs, some of the suburbs, the more left wing of the suburbs. I'm talking about modern left wing, not traditional left wing. I'm talking about the middle class left wing, so-called intelligentsia, and they're creating kind of huts, if you like, metallic huts to store your bicycle on the road, taking up a parking spot. Like anyone needs to. You just take your bicycle indoors. You just lock it away in your garden shed, or you leave it in your hallway, whatever. And then they've also closed roads for no apparent reason, like blocked them off midway, and then put like fucking plant pots in the way. Like it's just creating problems in areas where parents need to pick up the kids from school, creating chaos. And they can talk about how it's all about, making improvements to the roads as much as they like. What they're obviously trying to do is push car drivers off the road. And there's another aspect to this. It's like cycle routes and cycle lanes being installed where there were once roads, and roundabouts that kind of prioritise cyclists, when the vast majority of road users still in this city are car users, and there's a significant minority of cyclists. Cyclists would probably disagree with me, but you've only got to stand at a road in this city and see what I mean, and the facts will speak for themselves. So what they're doing is the local council is trying to revive the city centre, but at the same time, like by kind of like encouraging investment in it. But at the same time, they're making it harder for drivers to actually get into the city centre. Now, it would be all very well and good if there was a public transport infrastructure that supported that. So in other words, you could leave your car at home and get the bus in. But bus services have been declining all the time over the years, and they're just continuing to do so, to the point, where I live, there used to be a bus every 20 minutes. And now in the evenings, it's one every 2 hours. Where I used to live at my parents' house, it's 1 an hour, and it used to be one every 20 minutes. So, people, they're not making it easy for people to get into the city centre. So, I don't care what people on Sheffield Forum say who try and support this or say that there isn't a problem. Because I guarantee if you go to any other city, and I've been to them in recent years, Edinburgh, Leicester, Manchester, Lincoln, all these places, they're still vibrant. Yes, there's an impact of the internet, but not to the point like it's had in Sheffield, which Sheffield City Centre is abjectly depressing compared to what it used to be. Unless the council gets real and realises that by pushing cars out of the city centre, all you're doing is exacerbating the pollution problem, because then you've got cars stuck in traffic in the city around the city centre, because the traffic's been pushed outwards and it creates more congestion. And they're sitting in traffic with their engines running, creating more pollution. So all that's going to, surprisingly enough, air moves. So all that's going to happen is that the pollution's just going to float into the city centre anyway. So the problem is these people are they're very keen on ideology, but they're very lacking in brains. And it's as simple as that. And the problem is that even despite what they do, that's stupid, people in this city will keep voting them in because it's so virulently left wing that the idea of voting anything right wing for the majority of people in this city is an anathema. So they'd rather vote side, if they're a Labour voter, if they're getting disillusioned with Labour, they'd rather vote for the Greens. It's sideways vote. It's still left, but they'll go sideways, or possibly even Lib Dem. But God forbid anything more right wing, and that's about fair enough. But then the problem is that when you keep voting the same people in, they're just gonna, get more and more audacious when it comes to like doing stupid things, and that's the way of politics. So yeah, that's my opinion on Sheffield City Centre and why it's gone downhill over the years.